There is a piece of wisdom that is fundamental to understanding power, yet we often forget it. It goes like this: a system is only as strong as the collective belief that upholds it. This is not a hopeful platitude. It is a clinical description of reality. It suggests that the most formidable structures in our world, the institutions, the hierarchies, the seemingly unbreakable rules, are not made of stone or steel. They are made of stories. They are held together by a fragile, invisible web of shared agreement. And when that agreement is broken, the most imposing structures can evaporate like a dream. I want to take you to a specific moment in time, the evening of November 9th, 1989, in East Berlin. For 28 years, the Berlin Wall had been the most brutal and tangible fact of the Cold War. It was not a metaphor. It was a 96-mile-long geopolitical scar, a death strip of concrete, barbed wire, and armed guards, with orders to shoot to kill. The wall was more than a physical barrier. It was a psychological one. It was designed to be a permanent feature of reality, a brutalist monument to a divided world. The system it represented seemed monolithic, eternal, and absolute. That evening, a mid-level East German government spokesman named Günter Schabowski was scheduled to hold a routine, and usually very dull, press conference. The government, facing immense pressure from its citizens, had decided to slightly ease travel restrictions in the coming days as a minor concession to calm things down. The details of this new policy were handed to Schabowski on a piece of paper just before he went on stage. He hadn't had time to read it carefully. The press conference was televised live across Europe. Towards the end, an Italian journalist asked a simple, clarifying question: when do these new travel rules come into effect? This is the moment where history pivoted on the tired shoulders of a single, unprepared man. Schabowski, flustered, shuffled through his notes. He couldn't find a date. The plan was for a slow, controlled rollout the next day, with a lengthy visa process. But under the glare of the television lights, he improvised. He stammered, "As far as I know, it takes effect immediately, without delay." That was it. It was a mistake. A single, accidental sentence spoken by a man who didn't fully understand what he was saying. But that sentence was broadcast. West German television just across the wall seized on it. Their lead news anchor opened the 8 p.m. broadcast with a stunning declaration: "This November 9th is a historic day. East Germany has announced that, starting immediately, its borders are open to everyone." The story had been spoken, and the people of East Berlin, who had lived their entire lives under the shadow of the wall, heard it. A few brave souls started to walk towards the checkpoints. Then more. They weren't a mob. They were just curious, hopeful people coming to see if the rumor was true. The border guards were completely confused. They had no new orders. They called their superiors, who were equally baffled, watching the same news reports. But as the crowds at the checkpoints grew from dozens to hundreds, and then to thousands, a terrifying and beautiful feedback loop began. The people saw the crowds and believed the story was true. The guards saw the crowds and the news reports, and they began to doubt their old story. Each side's belief was being reinforced by the other's actions. The shared agreement that the wall was an impassable barrier was beginning to fray, right there, in real time. Finally, at one checkpoint, a guard named Harold Jaeger, overwhelmed, out of options, and unwilling to start a massacre, made a personal, historic decision. He gave the order, "Open the gate." The system did not collapse because of an army, a treaty, or a grand political plan. It collapsed because a mistaken sentence shattered the collective story that held it together. The moment enough people started acting as if the wall were open, it was. This story forces us to look at the walls in our own lives and in our society, the assumptions, the unbreakable rules, the limitations we accept as permanent. It reveals that these structures are often not made of concrete at all. They are made of consensus, and it proves that the most powerful force in the world is not the wall itself, but the moment a critical mass of people decides to simply turn to each other and say, "What if we just started walking?"